Yeah.
Hey everyone, welcome to Chat with Sandy and Karen. I'm Karen Jackson and my co-host is,
Sandy Banso.
and we are so happy to visit with you today and bring our good friend, Danielle Filas. She is my mentor and I still consider her a very good friend. And so welcome, Danielle.
Thank you so much. It's great to meet you, Sandy, and great to be back with you, Karen.
Yeah, welcome, Danielle. So tell us about yourself.
Well, I was born. No, I'm just kidding. I am currently a teacher at Presbyterian School of Houston, where I teach 8th grade English, and I'm also the dean of the 8th grade. And I collect certifications. My favorites are my Innovator certification from Google for Education, my trainer certification, recently became a PowerSchool champion for the Schoology side of PowerSchool, and I'm a National Writing Project teacher consultant.
Very cool. That's neat. I've just taken part in a little bit of the National Writing Project, but what does that mean? What tell our listeners what the National Writing Project is?
Oh, it's fantastic. You should, if you're in the U.S., you should look it up and see if there is a chapter near you. So, when I was in Columbus, Ohio, which was my gig before this one, I just happened to see that there was a National Writing Project summer, I think they call it intensive or summer symposium for teachers. And it's not just writing teachers, because I think every teacher needs some writing, no matter what you're doing, involved. And so it was a summer intensive program. We went to Kenyon College, which is absolutely gorgeous. Their dining hall looks like something out of Harry Potter, and just spent time talking about teaching, writing, reading, writing ourselves, which the irony of being a writing teacher is that you rarely get to read or write unless you got reading as 8th grade essays. And it was lovely. And by the end, you emerge with a lot of tools for the classroom and tools for your own growth as a writer. And you've got this incredible network, much like the Google for Education certification crowd. You've got this great network. And then you're part of the ongoing conversation. So, for instance, last summer, they hosted a Write Across America, and you can look that up by hashtag and see all the wonderful things we did. Every week, it was virtual, obviously, because I don't know if you guys heard about this virus that's been going around. It was weird. I don't know if y'all heard about it, but it was big here. So everything was virtual, and every week a different city would host the writing project. And so via Zoom, everybody would come in, and the host city group of teacher consultants created a story map. And that map would have different locations in the city that they had chosen and curated as places of interest or cultural or historical significance. And in that pin, you'd click it and open it, and there'd be photos and essays and writing prompts. So you'd attend this meeting and look at the map all together, and then go out into breakout rooms and choose a spot on the map on your own, write for 20 minutes, just quiet writing time. At the end of the 20 minutes, come back together and share your pieces of writing. And there's some philosophies that are common to the National Writing Project of not praising anybody, not critiquing anybody, but just saying thank you. And then everybody would dump back into the big room, and sometimes your piece might get chosen. They might ask you to read your piece. And it was really fantastic, open to anyone, not just writing teachers. In fact, I had told my father to join it because he likes writing. He's a computer science, retired computer scientist, but I knew he would like it, and it was fun for us to do together and compare our writing later.
Yeah.
And both of us actually got published in their big story map, which is really cool.
Wow.
Really, really fun. So that's the kind of thing they do, and they offer workshops for teachers and ways to connect to students and get them to be engaged with the creative writing process. That was a long answer.
Is it too late now?
No, check it out. They've got all kinds of ongoing things. I'm sure they're going to do another one over the summer. And you didn't have to be in for the whole thing, the whole marathon. I did because I'm all in for that kind of thing. And I needed it for my mental health over that summer, while my growing panic about how we were going to handle the year sort of ate away at my soul a little bit. It was really healthy and cool to just get together and create with other people. One of the tiny gifts that the pandemic gave us was inventions like that.
Yes, that sounds like a great model. Well, just a great model for instruction.
Totally.
You
I
know?
used it in my class all the time. Yeah.
For agency.
Yeah.
You know, that allows agency and encouragement and freedom and creativity. Wow, that's awesome.
It was terrific. Yeah.
Is it just open for the USA?
No, anybody can come. The virtual, anybody could come. We had people from all over the place, and it's definitely sort of, as many things are, USA centric, but the sort of times might be difficult depending on your time zone. But we had people from all over.
That's
no.
fun. That just sounds like fun.
It was. I'll invite you if it comes up. I think they're going to do it again this summer. I'll invite you.
Yes, thank you. That's cool. So when does your school year end?
I can't believe we're actually looking at that right now. I can't get my head around the fact that we might actually make it. I don't want to say we're going to, because I feel like fate has had a real saucy sense of humor lately. But we just did our first set of finals on Friday. Next week, we finish up our finals. We have our commencement ceremony for 8th graders. And then the following week is a work week for the teachers.
Oh.
A work week where we might all just kind of hold hands and weep together and then eat a lot of things. I don't know.
Yes. That's good. Or take a nap. Just have little nap pods around the room.
Nap pods, yes, exactly. Just staring at each other like, what did we just go through?
Oh, so you were saying that you were doing, I want to say concentric. You didn't say concentric. Concurrent. Okay. So Sandy, you were doing the same thing, right? For part of your year? Concurrent, where you had some kids online and then some kids face to face?
Yes.
Yeah.
At the same time. How was that for you? How was that for you, Sandy? How did you manage that juggling act?
It's been hard. It's because the other end kids, can understand they don't want to come to school. They're scared or they're lazy. But then the Wi-Fi doesn't work, or they're lazy, don't do the homework, or they're lazy. You know, you just can't judge any of the kids. And you have to, trust them. It's been hard. I think we also have about 2 to 3 weeks left, and then we're off as well. And we can't believe it's like, hang on a minute, when did June just come around? Or, this is quick.
Yeah.
Sandy, I had one of my 8th grade students said to me, and I think I sense that you'll also join the Hallelujah chorus in agreement here. He said, it feels like every day is a year long and every month is about 5 minutes long. I thought, yes, that's exactly how it feels. It's eternal.
Yeah.
And yet it flashed by as a whole.
It can only get better.
Don't say that. She doesn't mean it. She doesn't mean it. We know you could do worse. We know you could. We're really grateful for what we have. Please don't take it away.
So, do you have any plans for the summer?
Yeah, I'm going to eat, sleep, and repeat.
Yay! That's awesome.
I am trying to hold myself to a whole lot of nothing. I worked my rear end off last summer, and I'm grateful I did. I knew I had to, that the only way I would be able to survive the year would be to have everything intricately planned as far as my content went and flexible so that I could kind of plug and play once I got there. I figured the variables that I would be faced with would make any kind of on-the-fly lesson planning just dreadful. So this year, this is my 21st year as a teacher. This year was my best year as far as preparedness. I mean, I had things in the tank from the beginning because I spent the whole summer working. And I also started last summer that I'm grateful our leadership let us do. We adopted as our LMS Power School or Schoology, and we had only used it for 1 year prior to the summer. So we knew that it would become the airport from which every lesson and course needed to take off. So we thought it really needed to be well planned and well thought out. So a group of unpaid on their summer vacation teachers at my school all volunteered to get together and sort of create a best practices document, how to lay out our courses so that they were all the same and yet flexible enough for all of the teachers in our school to be able to put in their content. From we've got Bible study and dance to math and PE. How can you make a platform where parents know exactly where things are in every page and don't have to go hunting around for the sort of pioneering that every teacher wants to do, and yet maintain teacher autonomy, because we are a private school and we have an entrepreneurial spirit. We wanted to preserve that. That's why teachers are willing to come teach at a private school. So we spent the whole summer really hammering that out. And it was so anticlimactic. When we handed it over, we felt that the clouds should part and sunshine should beam down and Pegasus should come running by, because we've worked so hard on every little detail of it. And in the end, it was just a document that was like, set it up like this. And people were like, okay, and just set it up like that. We're like, oh, okay, because we really thought about what every assignment should be coded as and why it should be put where it was. Okay, they just accepted it. But that was last summer. And this summer, I just don't want to do any of the things. I just want to like be like my cats. I don't know if you can see Fat Louie over here on this chair. And that's what I want to do this summer. I want to do that. Live like Fat Louie. Yeah, wherever. He doesn't care. He just wants to nap wherever I'm sitting.
There we go. That's cool.
Yep, cats. It's a cat's life.
Yeah, a surprising discovery brought to me by the pandemic was that all they are while I'm gone are throw pillows that purr. That's it. They occasionally wake up and go nap somewhere else. That's their big. So I'd like that. That's what I want to do for the summer. Hashtag live like Louie. No.
There we go.
Live
I'm putting it in. I'm putting that in the show notes.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah.
As Louie.
That's it. His full name is Fat Louie, but he is just big boned. Not
Okay.
his fault.
Oh, how old is he?
12. He doesn't act like it though. He still chases lasers when he's not a throw pillow. He still chases lasers, and he can't jump like he used to, but he knows that his cat mom will put little steps everywhere he likes to jump so he can still get up. Super spoiled. Super spoiled. And his sister, who's half his size and twice as bright, is off somewhere else, napping in another corner of the house, no doubt.
Oh,
She hunts
Or
for good
barfing on
porn.
a rug. That's her other good trick. Yeah. Yeah. It's a glamorous life here at Shape by Life.
Yeah. Awesome. Oops. Sorry. Sorry again.
Okay.
okay. So, Danielle, that's your famous word, right?
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay. Yes. Okay is my verbal tick. I use it as a sort of Swiss Army knife of shutting people down. Okay. Asking a question. Okay. Telling someone they're bonkers. Okay. Telling them it's time to move on. Okay. Shaking myself out of a reverie. Okay.
Here we go. How many ways? That's another great exercise. How many ways can I use one word? That's good.
Many.
So what was your go-to, did you have a protocol that you used over and over again with different lessons, or what got you through your planning marathon, or was it just
handling the concurrent element was something I expected we'd have to do, where we're teaching both live and in person, face to face, and online, and it worried me the most. So I kept tinkering with that. I didn't come out of the gate with a good plan for that, but by the end, I'd landed on a pretty good plan where I had a daily agenda that I made in good old Google Slides. The kiddos knew where to go to get it. And I actually had 2 slide decks. I had a resource slide deck where I had every slide planned. Really, I could have done it for the whole year, but I didn't want to in case I needed to pivot. And we did sometimes, but about a week in advance, I'd have a slide for every day. And then I would dump in the week slides on Sunday night. So the kids knew we go to the daily agenda to see what we're doing in class this day. And I kind of trained them to go there before I walked in the room. We did the thing where the kids sat in one room all year, and we, the teachers, rotated. So when they hear, this will shock you to know, Karen, but my cart that I used ended up decorated with license plates and lights and a Bluetooth speaker that played a curated playlist of class change music that I hand selected for my kids. Now it's like 500 songs on it. And various horns and bells and whistles and sound effects. So they'd hear me coming down the hall, and they'd, like little Pavlovian dogs, get their daily agenda up to see what was going on. And that gave me time to open up my Zoom session for my virtual kiddos and get them set up. And once I welcomed them into the classroom, I would talk to everybody about what we were doing that day. And it was just sort of ready to go. And I am there as a guide on the side to help them through whatever I had planned for them. So I would ask the students who were in the classroom to get started and to jot down any questions they had for me, and give me 10 minutes with the virtual kiddos to get them going while I talk to them on the screen and let the kiddos in the room kind of start rolling with what they needed to roll with and write down any questions. And in 10 minutes, I'm all yours. So I get them, virtual kids, settled and answer their questions. It would often give me an idea of what questions I was going to need to answer with the kiddos who were on screen or live with me, often I'd be able to let the virtual kids either mute me and turn off the camera and just pop in if they had questions, or just thinking about the amount of screen time those poor things had, and Wi-Fi troubles they might have. I would offer them, they could just disconnect from the Zoom class if they wanted and reconnect. I'd leave it open. They could reconnect and come back in if they had questions, or they could mute me and come back in if they had questions. I also offered virtual office hours at the end of the day for them to pop in and see me. So once I got them going, then I turned my attention to the folks who were in the room with me and be able to circulate through the class and help them do what they needed to do. And by the end of class, I might look at what my virtual kiddos had done, whether they were Zoom or not. It was usually something I could monitor their progress on. And if I needed to contact them and say, hey, it looks like you're a little off base on this, or you got stuck here, let's talk about this, or just email them and say, hello, I don't know if you did things because I didn't see you today, and CC parents and make sure that I was able to just generate a relationship with them about the importance of their success in my classroom, and then be able to pop back to the live kids and shut the whole thing down and then move my weird cart to the next class and do the same thing. So that was kind of that ended up working for me and for the virtual kids, because they were the hardest to serve. The face-to-face kids, they're fine, just hang on for 10 minutes and I'll be right with you. But the virtual kids, it was harder to serve them. We gave them an equivalent but not equal education, I think.
Yeah.
That's good. I've never actually heard someone speak about and describe the actual having the session where you have concurrent. You know, it's that. Thank you for outlining that for us, and I think that's going to be a good resource for teachers that may be faced with that in the future.
And I think everybody sort of had to pioneer their own. Sandy, what does it look like for you? I'm interested to hear how you have juggled that.
Well, I can say you're more organized than me.
You say organized, I say paranoid.
I press that button. Who's in? Okay, cameras on. First of all, it takes them forever to put the cameras on. And then
I didn't make them put the cameras on.
I didn't at first, but then when they didn't hand in the work, or if I ask questions and they didn't answer the questions, then I'm like, well, are you really there? And I think, so I get the kids in, and then the students who are in the classroom, I sort of like address to the whole class online and the ones who are present. And then I would say, okay, the ones who are online, I'm going to go around, speak to these kids, but if you need me, give me a shout. You're mute. I'm going to mute myself, but I can hear your end. So that's how we've done it. And then, yes, and I need to see their work at the end of the lesson. It can work. It sometimes doesn't work. It all depends on the day, the situation. It depends on the kids.
It does. And the number of students. I am fortunate to be at a school where my largest class, I think, was 14.
Okay,
so,
Karen, we need to go and work.
So much more workable in a small cohort like that.
Yeah.
It meant that this year, our school, that meant we had an additional section from what we used to, but it was all power to our leadership for making that decision to say, we think it's going to be, you're going to have less free time during the day. What would have been a planning period isn't going to be there anymore because you'll have this extra section, but your sections will be more manageable. And that was wise. My leadership, I have to hand it to them. They made several great decisions, and most of them I was a deep skeptic of at the beginning. I think they hate having me because I'm the one who's always raising my hand and like, I don't think this is going to work because here's what I'm worried about. And they listen to me and do take what I say, sometimes if it actually makes sense to them, into consideration, but they ultimately make the decision that they think is best for the school. And this year they really did a great job. I was telling Karen before we went live that we ended up having only 12 COVID cases in our fall term and 2 after that in the whole school. So pre-K through 8th grade, staff and students and faculty included. And none of those spread throughout the school. They were all given to the person who became ill from outside of the school, and nothing spread. And that's because of the protocols and the hard work they did. Taking the first bit of school virtual, we went live and face-to-face or concurrent really in September. So we just had about, I don't know, a month, I guess, of all virtual. And that gave them the time to retrofit our HVAC system and put up plexiglass and figure out how to shift rooms around to make more classrooms and get teachers' desks out of those classrooms because they wouldn't be needed if we're on carts and they took up too much room, so that we could socially distance more and figure out mask mandates and figure out how to do wellness checks and figure out things like, how do you do? We used to all pile into the same big place for carpool as parents were coming to get them. And that's just like giant COVID soup. So how do we make it not like that and balance teacher time and energy with safety of the community? And they did a great job. I mean, that's pretty amazing that we had so few cases. And we're here in Texas where it was really burning hot for a while, and Houston where it was really burning hot for a while. So all power to them and to our incredible board, our health and safety board of parents and alums who were willing to volunteer their time to help us get through this safely.
That's good. Yeah, the leadership. There was a, it's funny where we emphasize teachers. We're so happy for our teachers, and then somebody said, somebody has to help with planning this and make arrangements for these new mandates. Oh, we're so happy for our leadership. We're so happy for, and then, the parents are kind of juggling the schedule where they have 3 kids at 3 different schools and online, and the parents, it's, so I'm really happy that I hope that people felt like they were appreciated in their moment. We may not be able to thank everyone at once, but I mean, when you really realize all the work that all of the levels and the stakeholders went through, it really is amazing how
it's astounding. It's astounding. Yeah. And I love that you mentioned that the gratitude really needs to go all around. And we ought to be first offering that and thinking about that as opposed to blame, shame, right? I remember in one of our heated meetings, the leader of our school said, "Hey, this is my first pandemic too." And I'm like, okay, yeah. right.
Okay, yeah.
Danielle, I've got a question. Before you was an educator, you worked as something else.
Yeah, I'm an accidental teacher. I was a theater nerd. I had a theater and English degree, and I hesitate to say that I was a professional theater artist because I had to take other jobs to supplement my theater artistry, but I did work in theater. At one point, I had 3 different theater-related jobs, and I was directing a piece called Museum by Tina Howe in Chicago, back when I lived in Chicago. And a man came up to me and said, "I'd love for you to direct this at my high school." And I said, "No, thank you. I hated high school and I was in it. Don't want to go back." And he said, "We'll pay you And I said, oh, okay, I'll do it. And then I went to the Chicago Academy for the Arts, which is an amazing school in Chicago. Always part of my heart, because Matthew Kearns, the gentleman who'd come up to me, still my friend and artistic collaborator and teacher friend, even though he doesn't teach anymore. And he saw a teacher in me when I definitely didn't. I directed that show with them and realized working with kids was the most terrifying and thrilling and energizing and rewarding occupation I could imagine. As artists, you work with adults and say, I need you to, in this part, throw this pie in your own face. And the adult says, I really don't think my character would do that. You explain the objective, and the kids are like, bam, bam, bam. Which one did you like best? And they're just fearless and exciting. And their commitment to giving things a try and their energy was so inspiring to me, and it forced me as an artist to be able to articulate my own process. And they would come see my shows, and so I had sure better be as fearless as I asked them to be. So I ended up loving it and begging the school to keep me and throwing my English degree and going, I could teach this too. I could teach theater. Just hire me. And they did. And then I never stopped. I've just been an educator ever since.
Yeah, incredible. And I
went
bet
in through the back door.
So entertaining for the kids as well in class. It's what they need as well. Can you imagine just serious teacher trying to teach these kids?
I mean, I've seen it. It's horrible. I had those teachers. Horrible. Horrible. And edutainment kind of I've had a lot of people look down their nose at my style, which, as you probably can imagine, just give a description of my cart, is high energy, and I'm very interested in keeping them entertained and wanting my room to be a place of deep thought, but also real joy and vulnerability and terror. All of that should be part of my classroom. And I get a lot of colleagues through the years have kind of looked down at me and criticized that choice. And I don't think that should be your choice if that's not your personality. I would never deign to say you should be more like me, but it works for some kids. And I don't know why, but this idea that education has to be hard and painful in order to work.
Yeah. I mean, you play when we're children, the bitty children, we learn by playing. And so play, I think, is the way right into the brain.
Absolutely. And it's the most human and natural instinct we all have. We all want to play, and we want to make our lives easier. So I laugh when people are like, oh, the kids are all cheating now that we've got Zoom-based virtual classes. They're all cheating. What are we going to do about cheating? I'm like, you don't call it cheating. When you do it, you go look up. If you want to know how to figure out how to hang your photo perfectly on a staircase, I'm remembering my dad and I looked at each other like, we need the Pythagorean theorem. We need it. And we didn't call it cheating to go look it up. We called it resourceful. So maybe it's on us to not cheat our students out of questions that are deeper than what you can Google. And
right,
that getting them to figure out they need to do those questions is much more important than just firing questions at them. So yes, that's all from the sense of play.
Wow, that's so amazing. Thank you so much, Danielle, for sharing your wonderful practices, how you teach, your history. It's been such an honor having you on our show. So nice to meet you and listening to the relationship you and Karen had. I feel really jealous. Can you mentor me too?
Here's the secret. I didn't mentor her. We just did this, what we're talking about right now. This is what we did. This is, I think, mentor. We even did a session on this, right, Karen?
Yeah, CCEA.
That she taught me more than I taught her. It's just having somebody to bounce your ideas off of and
right.
validate your concerns.
It's been amazing.
Thank you so much. I'm honored to be part of your conversation and really love the podcast.
Well, we would love to have you back again, especially, well, when the pandemic's over and you can tell us how the next process is and how you've been teaching in your school. So
thank you so much. I would be thrilled to come back.
Awesome.
Okay. Thank you to
have a great day.
Yes, and you can catch us on at Chat WSK1 on most of the podcast platforms.
Bye, everyone.